Did it ever happen to you? A recipe asked for almonds and you had only cashew at your home at that time? It would have, right? Or vice versa. The recipe asked for cashews and you had almonds only at your home. And this could happen with respect to different kinds of nuts. Maybe it was with reference to walnuts or pecans or whatnot. So, what do you do if you have one kind of nuts but the recipe is asking for something different? Can you replace one dry fruit or nut with another one? Let me explain. The quick answer is it depends. That doesn't help you, right? So, you have to understand the nature of the dry fruit with respect to its taste, its texture, and its contents. That defines or dictates is now how that particular dry fruit or nut can be used. So while I will go into the details of many of these in my future videos, let me briefly explain if I were to take just two nuts as a comparison. Let's say we are comparing, the almonds and cashews. You see, almonds are quite oily in nature, quite pulpy in nature, relatively bland in taste, but a little flavorful when it comes to the smell. Now, when it comes to cashews, they are soft, they are not pulpy, they are sweet in taste, and therefore their texture is totally different from that of almonds. So, when you are making a energy ball, for example, you want to replace one with the other one, it again depends on how you are making the energy balls. If you are adding some dates and then a few other things and making these into small pieces, each of these almonds or cashews or whatever the recipe is asking for, you can certainly go with either of them. But if the recipe is asking you to blend the nut completely and then make balls out of that, then it certainly depends a lot on whether you are going to use cashews or whether you will be using the almonds. The difference is quite a bit because when you try to blend the almonds in a big way, you are going to get quite a bit of oil out of that, and if you over process it, the fiber part gets separated completely as with reference to the oil, and you will never be able to mix them together well. But if you are doing the blending for a relatively longer time on cashews, nothing will happen other than the cashews becoming more and more smooth. So the texture is different and therefore the usage is different. Let us say you are making smoothies, green smoothies. Which one are you going to make use of? Well, here again, cashews, because of their creaminess, they add a lot of smoothness to the smoothie. The smoothie, as the word indicates, is all about smoothness. When it comes to brownies, most of the times the recipe will ask for a walnut. Why is it so? Walnuts will have a certain amount of bitter taste which will go very well with cocoa powder or cacao. So your brownie will be thick in its taste, bitterness, compensated by the dates, and you will have a very, very, very rich flavor. If you were to replace the walnuts with cashews just because you happen to like cashews, I think you would have damaged the brownie completely. What about pecans? Yes, in place of walnuts, you will be able to use pecans probably even better. They are very expensive here in India, so I don't use them often, but they are a good replacement. So, when it comes to replacing, you will have to understand what is the purpose. What kind of a recipe is this? Is this a recipe where you could change from one nut to the other or not? And you need to understand the basic nature of the nut or a dry fruit. Take few more examples. Dates and raisins. Can we replace dates with raisins? The taste is different, the texture is different, the stickiness is different. When you make ice creams, which one are you going to use? Are you going to use almonds or are you going to use cashews? When it comes to ice creams, again, because of the creamy nature, you might want to use cashews in place of almonds. What about making oil? Obviously, almond oil. If you want to get some pure almond oil, you can get it from blending the almonds and then filtering completely. But if you are going to get a cashew oil, sorry, that's not going to be a bad luck, going to be a good luck for you. So it depends on what you are going to do with the nut or dry fruit before you easily think of replacing one with the other. If you replace one with the other and then at the end complain that the recipe did not come out well, that's because you have changed the ingredients without considering their basic nature. So, does this all get you confused even more than earlier when we started? I hope not. You would have understood by this time that you cannot blindly replace one with the other. You need to understand the recipe and the nature of the ingredient that you are using. Not only the question of nuts, cashews, almonds, walnuts and pecans and sunflower seeds and whatnot. It is about each of the ingredients, they have a different nature. In place of spinach, you might not be able to use coriander or broccoli. They are all different. So, to enrich your own understanding of what is the fundamental nature of some of the ingredients, I have a series of videos listed out which are slated to come in the next few weeks. If you remember, this is part of my raw food diet course. As a part of this course, I have broken it down into 3 segments. The first one was talking about the fundamental concepts of raw food diet. The second was talking about the concepts of recipe making, which is where we are now. I am going to have just one more very exciting next video, hopefully, which will talk about the philosophy in a big way. You wouldn't want to miss that, whether you follow raw food or not. And the third segment will be after my next video, where I will talk about certain picked and chosen ingredients, not just dry fruits. Several kinds of things I will take, and I will take with examples and explain what is the specialty of each of those ingredients, and therefore how do you make out for yourself whether you can use that as a replacement for another, or where you can safely create your own recipes. Remember, I was talking about enriching your knowledge so you can make your own recipes. After going through all of my videos in the next segment, which I would think will be around 15-20 videos in the next segment, you will be able to create recipes on your own. That is the idea. So if this is something that excites you, I think you should definitely subscribe. Click on that notification bell so you won't miss any of my future videos as well. I hope it made some sense to you. I hope this time was useful to you. If it did, if it genuinely did, then please click on the like button and share it with your friends. And thank you for your time, whether it is a day or evening for you. Have a nice day or evening. Bye bye. See you all again in my next video. Don't miss the next one. That is really important. Bye bye.